Well, I was on record in the offseason that I didn't think Rodney Gallagher would start at the slot. Not only has he started at the slot, but he had shut my big fat mouth all the way up.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. This is Locked On West Virginia, baby, where we're talking about the Mountaineers again on the football side of things. Appreciate you guys for joining in as we dive into another subject-filled episode. I appreciate this, guys. Episode going to be brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Make sure you download the FanDuel app today to get started. Well, you know, if there were a couple storylines that came out of the Backyard Brawl, Rodney Gallagher had to be one of them. Nico Marchiol had to be one of them. These were two players I didn't always believe in during the offseason for different reasons. Rodney, I felt like he underperformed under Neil Brown, which he had at times. And, you know, I think on Saturday, he really played well. He was hoping more than he got the ball. I watched the tape multiple times now. Nico was sacked on a couple of plays where he would have been wide open. He had the potential to have 150 yards in that game. I get it. Receivers don't get the ball every time they're open, but he was open a lot. So, and it's due to his route recognition. It's due to his recognition of zone versus man, and it's due to his growth as a football player. I didn't factor that in during the offseason. You know, and it's just seeing it for me too, just seeing him be able to do it. One of the things I wanted to see him be able to do, he did in the game, which was you caught the ball behind the sticks, you juked a guy totally out of his shoes and made a big play. That's what you need out of your slot. We hadn't seen Rodney do that a lot. A lot of his catches have been he catches it and falls right down, or he'll catches it. Sometimes he's in the end zone. But, you know, not a whole lot of yards after catch, not a whole lot of big plays. And that's flipped a little bit here in in the first three games. He's really flipped things around. So I think that, you know, he's still got a lot of football out ahead of him for sure. But I just want to acknowledge a couple things really quick about him. You know, he has always been for other people besides himself, a very family-oriented person. And I don't know him personally. I'm basing this off of things I've read about him, articles that have been published about him, things that like Tony Caridi and those guys have said. And there's another thing he and I relate on big time. I lost my dad at a young age. He lost his mom at a young age. It's a really hard thing to go through, especially when it's, you know, whether it's terminal or, you know, they're in bad health. That's one thing. You know, in my situation, I don't know which is worse, honestly, watching somebody you love slowly wither or them to being taken away too fast. My dad had a heart attack we weren't expecting, so it happened very suddenly and right in front of me. So that was totally devastating for me. I can't explain the shock of somebody he was talking to me 30 seconds, literally 30 seconds before that and joking around. So there was a lot from me. And to see Rodney supporting a thing, if you don't know the story behind it, maybe I should just let Tony Caridi and those guys tell it. They tell it a little better than I do.
How about Rodney Gallagher? I mean, Rodney Gallagher had a game. Rodney had a really, really impressive game. It's a huge game for him. Sister went to Pitt.
Meant a lot.
His mom, who's passed with cancer, he played for her, had a special decal on the back of his helmet, a group that helps out kids that go through traumatic loss. And he was honoring them. And he goes out there yesterday and he gets 8 targets. He catches 7 for 61. Got 30 yards after catch and makes some big plays.
You've been waiting for some Rodney Gallagher breakthrough here. As good of athlete as he is, as highly touted as he was.
February 23rd, 2013. And, so I understand what that's like, not as a kid, but I know what it's like to lose a parent. So that resonates with me with Rodney. And I just want to tell him thank he's earning it on the field. And I think he's only going to take another step. And Nico is a big reason for that. Obviously, what he did in the fourth quarter and overtime is truly incredible. Really proud of Nico and what he was able to accomplish on Saturday. He is absolutely growing right in front of our eyes, and I think deservingly so. Both of these guys, they probably can't find two more deserving guys on our team than Nico Markiel and Rodney Gallagher. They deserve it so much. So, would love to see a little more production out of the wide receiver spots. Hopefully that happens Saturday. We definitely need it on the road in what's going to be a hostile environment. Big 12 opener for Kansas. I mean, goodness gracious. Can you get any tougher than a Big 12 opener in a stadium? It's not just the Big 12 opener, it's the stadium. So it's the first meaningful conference game they've ever played in the stadium. So that's going to be a big deal. I have no clue. It's not freezing on my end. And it says I have a good connection. So somebody in the comments is asking about stream freezing. Let me know in the comments if it's freezing up, because it's not on my end. So that, but I'll be watching Saturday to see if Rodney can continue this on, because it's great to have a big game in the Backyard Brawl. It's an emotional game for you. It's an emotional game for your family. Your sister goes to Pitt, the whole thing. I want to see more. I think he's capable of more. And all this momentum that we've gained Saturday from Pitt can be dashed in an instant, and I want to see if this football team can grit their way into 7 or 8 wins. It's not going to be pretty if we do. I'm okay with that, though. I kind of like this gritty bunch. I really do. We got a bunch of gritty football players, which is like, it's the perfect word to describe this team this year. And I'm all for that, being gritty, because I think it just, for me, it describes West Virginia. It describes this team and all that. So absolutely going to be watching that and monitoring that to make sure that they continue on with this, because they deserve it. And so do we as a fan base. And I'm still kind of high off of Saturday. I'm not going to lie. That was such a big deal. We haven't had something like that come around in a while. We're starved for it. And it's crazy because how much support our team still gets. Most universities, most states would lose the support that we give this far into not winning anymore. Like, it goes away for other places. I don't think people know that, but it does. It doesn't always stay. So very, very grateful for Nico and Rodney for staying at West Virginia. I could not be happier to be wrong about a thing. I felt like Man Singleton would take hold of that job in the slot. He has not done it. Now, I will say that our quarterbacking hasn't been consistent. And so whoever the best guys are, we really probably don't know yet because of the lack of passing. But Rodney stepped up when needed to be stepped up to, Grayson Barnes as well. I feel like on those, hopefully those are two guys that came on at the end of the game and don't just disappear again. Like, we need them to be visible for the rest of the year for this team to be good. If you can get Rodney and you can get Grayson to come on, now you're talking about, you got 3 weapons on offense outside of Ty Edwards. Then you start to cook with grease. Because if you've got a slot option and a tight end option, you don't have to wait for Cam Vaughn, which means you can throw quicker passes. You don't have to, wait sometimes 3, 5, even 7 steps into your drop, which they don't do a lot of that in Rich Rod's offense. But, 3, 5, 7 step drop, when our offensive line clearly had protection issues during the game. If we had a good offensive line, or if we had an average or better offensive line, I mean, it still may get there, honestly. I would say this team has a chance to sneak into the Big 12 championship game. We've got everything else. We've got the defense. We've got the offensive skill talent. We're just missing the quarterback right now, as far as like a really good quarterback. We don't have that yet. And we're missing the offensive line. Those, and they're the two biggest things, really. Two of the biggest things. Now, but what does that mean if you don't have them? It means you have to win in spite of them sometimes. Sometimes they're going to play well and bail you out, like Saturday. Offensive line and the quarterback bailed us out Saturday. So, that's a positive sign in the right direction that we need to keep happening. And I'm hoping that they just started to figure some things out. I think through these first 3 games, a couple of things I think we figured out are this. Number one, we've learned that we have to win with grit. We just have to. That's how we're going to have to win this year with this team, which I think that's fun to watch. Number two, we have a really good defense that you can't leave them on the field 100 plays a game, but like if you can give them rest and get a few first downs and all that kind of thing, so where they're not on the field over and over again and you score some points, 25, 30 points a game might be enough in some games. Certainly you're going to face offenses that put up 30 or more on us at some point this year, but it's going to be a team that gets turnovers, at least for now. And it's a team that is extremely, extremely physical on the outside with blocking, with the way they tackle, that kind of thing like that. So there's a lot of really good things about this team that I'm noticing so far. It's just that we lack in certain departments that are so necessity to winning at a high level. And I'm totally watching for that, to see that next level jump. Like I keep bringing up Jacksonville State, but they did it after the first 3 games last year. Can West Virginia take any jump? Any jump is good, right? So much less the jump that Jack State took. I'll take 6-2 down the stretch, not much less 8-1. Heck, I'll even take 5-3 down the stretch if you want to give it to us. So we'll continue to watch the Mountaineers and see how they go. I'm excited to check it out, guys. Hope you are too. Let's go to break. On the other side, listen, just like somebody put in the comments, this D-line bailed us out. And how much better can it get? It can get a lot better, actually, because we're adding one of the best players in the country. We'll be right back. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by our friends over at Mazda. Mazda. We're talking about Mazda, of course. Listen, Mazda crafts cars for those who do simply more than moving. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride, with more IHS top safety picks than anyone else as of August 2025. New all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV. You can drive with confidence through almost any season. And like our players, we sweat every detail. Because you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Do it today with Mazda. Move and be moved. And of course, our friends over at DoorDash are very important to mention as well, because it's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP. Who delivered? Powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks. Saving more on every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. For West Virginia, obviously, I mean, it's really close, but I want to go Eddie Besterinen. Delivered in a big way. 2 sacks in the game. One, he drove the nose tackle one-on-one straight into the lap of the quarterback, Holstein, and created some havoc for our West Virginia Mountaineers defense. And so when the pressure was on, Eddie V came through, no hesitation, no delay. And if you've been watching that week after week, this performance wasn't a fluke. Eddie V's been good for a long time, and Eddie Besterinen is on a streak. Just like Eddie Besterinen delivered to West Virginia, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. You save on every Saturday you order. Stack it up all season, and you can save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday, keep the streak alive, and fuel your game day only with DoorDash where the terms apply. Promo code through November 18th. And it's segment 2. Let's crack open this dude, y'all, and jump right back into this as we discuss, can it get any better? I deleted my notes by accident whenever we clicked over just now. So I'm just going to riff. Let me get to the roster, though, because that's definitely where I was going to go next anyway. So I'm just going to go over here and pull up our roster. Okay, so, the premise of this was I had some Jamori Robinson stuff pulled up, which I think he has in his bio. Let's go to his bio, as a matter of fact. So, he's had an interesting run here. I mean, he's been sacking dudes forever, man. He really has. If you look at his freshman year at Dodge City, Kansas Community College, he had 10 tackles for loss as a freshman, true freshman. In 2020, his season was canceled due to COVID. In 2021, he only played in 4 games and used a red shirt. So he's already got 3 years in college to get better and has only played in 4 meaningful games at the UTSA. Finally, in 2022, he appeared in all 14 games where he had 25 tackles, 11 solo stops, 2 tackles for loss, 1 pass breakup, and a quarterback hurry. So, he was starting to come on. And then finally in 2023, he really came on, where he broke the program's single season record with 10 quarterback hurries. He had 40 tackles, 23 solo stops, 4.5 sacks, and 11 tackles for loss, 2 pass breakups and a forced fumble. Had six tackles with 1.5 tackles for loss versus Army. I mean, goodness gracious, y'all. He had 6 stops, including 2 behind the line and a sack and a forced fumble at Temple. Last year at UTSA, just an incredible year where he played outside linebacker, 13 games, starting in 12, 43 tackles, 27 unassisted tackles, 10.5 sacks, 17 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles, 2 pass breakups, had multiple tackle for losses in 6 games, had 7 tackles and 6 solo stops, and 4 sacks and 5.5 tackles for loss against Temple alone. Jiminy Christmas. Also had 7 tackles, including 4 unassisted tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, and a forced fumble against Houston Christian. Just an incredible game for Jamori Robinson. So if you want to know what he looks like when he's at his best, go turn on the UTSA versus Temple tape from 2024. That'll give you a great idea of what he can do. This is a guy that flat out can go. I mean, when you look at him on the outside, what does he do well? What does Jamori Robinson look like as a football player? You can put his hand in the dirt and hold up against the run, or he can rush the quarterback with speed. A lot of times what will happen if you watch his tape is offensive linemen will overcompensate for that speed, get on their heels, and he'll transfer that into power where he'll drive the offensive lineman back into the quarterback and cause real problems. So, and he's also a guy that's athletic, and you see with mobile quarterbacks at times, guys try to get outside of him. He's got the explosion and burst necessary to catch them. I will say this, though. Obviously, Curtis Jones Jr. is a revelation right now, and maybe the best pass rusher on the team. That includes Jamori if he puts it all together. That's how good he's looked so far to people. Curtis Jones Jr. is an NFL player, guys. I don't think a lot of people know this yet. He's got all the skill you need to be an NFL player. I am totally shocked by how good Curtis Jones Jr. has looked at times as a pass rusher, because it's just come out of nowhere. I knew he'd come on last year a little bit. I didn't know to this extent. He had this growth spurt, 3 inches in one offseason in college. It's wild. Like he came in at 6'1". Now he's 6'4". That's how you make yourself a lot of money. I don't know. He's still getting stronger. Next year, another offseason for him, and maybe he grows into it this year. he's still learning the game, but that move he had early in the Pitt game where he went outside and fake and then cut it back up inside was elite, man. So how much better can it get for our West Virginia pass rush is the question I'm posing. Eddie Vesteren clearly showed what he's capable of in the middle with the pass rushing from the inside, driving a nose tackle into the quarterback. The center was supposed to be their best offensive lineman, returning starter. Braden Siders on the outside showed what he can do at defensive end at that, strong enough to not only he slanted down inside and then spun out and sacked Holstein. Marshawn Oxley gets a phantom roughing call on a really great move he put on the right tackle to get a sack in that game. We have pass rushers everywhere. Fred Perry has got a sack on the year or 2 sacks on the year, or whatever it is, from coming off the edge on a blitz. It's almost an embarrassment of riches. It really is. I never would have thought I would be saying this. I had a feeling we evaluated well. I pounded the desk all offseason about it. I really did. I felt like we could be good on defense. I felt like we, invested into the defense. Michael Coach Jr. is he's proving to be one of the best corners in the country, even though not a lot of balls are coming his way. But that's because, we're going to see this week, I think, whether or not he's holding up still, because I think Kansas does a lot of really good things. But, this defense has been so impressive so far. I can't, if we can stay healthy. The depth chart came out yesterday. Reed Carrico, another guy who's shown propensity to be able to sack guys, has looked really good. So can Chase Wilson. There's a lot. Zach Alley can do a lot with this athletic linebacking core, this athletic pass rushing group, the safeties that we have. As long as we stay healthy, this defense is going to be all right. I really like it a lot. Now, obviously, versus Kansas, it's going to be difficult because what Kansas does is, and if you didn't see my crossover episode earlier, they run the Koldenicki offense. They went out and got a guy that could run it because I think they had a year with Jeff Grimes, and that hasn't worked. Let me make sure I'm telling the right information here, because I want to make sure. Okay, yeah. So Jim Zabrowski is now the O coordinator. Yeah, he got promoted from co-offensive coordinator in December. So I'm right. I just wanted to make sure. Jeff Grimes was the guy last year. Okay, so I'm telling the right info. Just wanted to make sure. Jeff Grimes was the offensive coordinator last year, which is it's definitely more of a downfield type passing attack. Baylor did it the year they were really good a couple years ago. And he took a quarterback that he had at Baylor and went to Mississippi State, and that's looking really good right now. But, they went back to what they did under Koldenicki with Jalen Daniels, which is all that motion, all that movement. And Neil Brown had a lot of formations too. Neil Brown's similar things, double that, and that's what Kansas does. It's the formations. Like, you'll see Kansas break into, they'll have 3 or 4 guys, they'll line in tight. They'll have 3 or 4 guys go outside. 2 of them will motion back in. 2 or 3 guys will motion back out to this side. They condense and uncondense in different packages and formations. And it can be confusing, and it's designed to get you eyes one place. It's much like a fastball, right? If I want to get your eyes up, if you're locking in on my change up, I'm going to throw you one high and tight to get your eyes up so that I can throw a cutter down inside, right? Or whatever. Similarly with this offense, you want to get the linebackers, you want to get the pass rushers' eyes in the wrong place. They think it's going here, but it's over here. And a lot of times they'll get you to over pursue, and then it's here. So It's going to be a difficult challenge for our pass rush just because, unlike with Pitt, who only runs a couple different things, you never really knew what what they're going to do. So keep your eyes on it, y'all. It'll be an interesting chess match between Zach Alley, who's one of the smartest human beings I've ever heard talk. Like, if you listen to his press conferences, extremely impressive. Let's go to break. We'll come right back here and talk a little bit more about this and put a bow on it. And I got a couple other things I want to mention too. And of course, this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by Monarch Money. When it comes to Monarch Money, guys, we've got to talk about it being a thing because most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether that's 401k, properties, or investments, what have you. When you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It's a all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one easy, clean-to-use interface on your laptop or cell phone. It's built for people with busy lives, so if you're putting off organizing your finances, Monarch Money is for you. It does the heavy lifting for you, after all, so you can link all your accounts in just minutes. See clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. That's just the way it is, man. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year using Monarch Money with the code LOCKEDONCollege. All right. Thank you guys so much for being in here. Another episode of Locked On West Virginia, talking about Kansas and West Virginia and this matchup and all that. Okay. So I am really, really looking to see a couple other guys break out in this game. There's a couple guys that haven't broken out yet that can still break out, in my opinion. And I want to get out ahead of it so that I can come back and say, look, I told you about them. Just like today, I'm saying, hey, look, I was wrong about that, right? I don't care to admit that I was wrong because it's a win-win situation for me. I get to talk about it, and it means something good's happening for West Virginia. So, like, honest to God, I don't mind. So, Sincere Bowers, obviously, I'm still waiting on. I really think he can. I just don't know. I don't know what they're waiting on. Maybe he's not able to carry the load full time, and I understand that. Obviously Jaden Bray goes down, who was having such a great start to the year. And Jeff Weimer is a guy that I really think is good. The style of wide receiver he is, though, the unfortunate thing about it is, and he was wide open on a ball that they overthrew in the game, which sucks because it was going to be a big play. He's an elite route runner, and I just hope we get to the point to where we can utilize it, because right now we're a quick passing game, and Jeff is the kind of guy where he does well off double moves. He does well off of just, all these different things. And I hope we can feature him at some point because he's that good. It's unfortunate that we're, kind of trying to figure our quarterback situation out when we got all these good wide receivers. We haven't seen Christian Hamilton yet. I'm not necessarily saying I'm expecting him to break out, but Hamilton's a guy that I thought we would have seen a little more of, to be honest. Logan Ramper is another guy. I was high on him in the offseason. I went and watched the tape, man. He was wide open on one pass. I mean, it was only one play, but he used his speed to get to the outside. He had a couple steps on him. It's unfortunate. It was when Scotty was in, so, he had to struggle. So, those are probably the guys on offense. Xavier Bosley. Oh, yeah, Xavier Bosley. I'm waiting for him to get fully healthy. I don't know his situation. I don't know what's going on there. And I don't want to pretend to, but, Xavier is a guy that I would expect to be playing, one of the 7 or 8, right? He would be if he was healthy. He's not right now, apparently. So hopefully that continues to get better. We're waiting. Cannon Katzer is another guy, by the way, that needs to get healthy so we can see him. So there was more than a couple guys. Ashton Woods is, I think, got a chance to be one of the best linebackers in the league whenever he fully grasps it. Unfortunately, he got thrown out of last game. I misspoke on the last episode. He's actually not going to be suspended for the first half of this game, which is great to know because that just adds to our linebacking core. So excited about that. And then on the defensive side of the ball, there's a couple dudes that I would love to see some Cam Torber. I believe in Cam, but I don't know about him as a freshman get much playing time. But man, is he a super athlete? I think he'll make an impact at some point. And where's Corey McIntyre been? We've heard so much about him. I'm really surprised that he hasn't shown up more. So that's one that's really shocking to me because I was expecting him to make an impact and he just hasn't yet for whatever reason. So some of these are questions, some of these are predictions. Who else on defense was I looking at? Obviously, Zay Jennings is a guy I believe a lot in. I thought he could do more than he has, but we're so deep. He just hasn't really had a chance. Elijah Simmons on the defensive line is another guy that I expected to see more out of. He hasn't been playing a bunch yet, but I believe in him. But Hammond Russell's just played so well, you can't remove him, and Eddie B as well. So it's like it's just tough sledding to beat those guys out right now. And last but not least, Jordan Walker. I really was expecting him to have a bigger impact. He has not so far. So he plays. He's played a lot. It's not like he hasn't played a lot, but I just expected more from him so far. And then this is another guy, Gerard Bowie. I thought he would do more as well. As far as predictions goes, I struggle with. I go back and forth on some of these guys. As I'm scrolling by, I'm looking for names. I don't know what happened to Dior Hubbard, by the way. He had such a great spring. I am happy. I'm really, really happy with Darren Lewis and how he's played. I'm very happy that I graded him as high as I did in the offseason. Hopefully he continues to do it. And he's going to be an all Big 12 performer, I think. So really, really good call on him. Feeling good about him. And then Ben Bogle, I think, is the last one I'll mention. I mentioned Ben Bogle in the offseason as a guy I thought he would start at linebacker. I'll just be honest. I didn't see Reed Carrico beating him out, but he's earned it, and he looks the part. Athletically, Reed Carrico looks way better than I've ever seen him look since high school. When he was in high school, he was this running back phenom that ran for 2,000 yards. Like, I knew he was a great athlete, but, man, he's looked the part so far in this year. He's really worked hard. And obviously, there's a few guys, but how could I go without saying our guy, right? So, yeah, there's a lot of guys to look at. I'm not going to say blame. Ben Cutter's looked good too. Like their linebacking group ended up being a lot deeper than I think, especially me. I didn't expect it to be as deep as it's been. But the other guy was Ashton Woods. I just wasn't expecting him to be as good as he is already. So I think that's played a part in Ben Bogle. Although Ben Bogle's played a lot, I thought he would factor in a bit more. But I'm okay with it. I think our linebackers are playing much better than I thought they would too. So just some rambling thoughts to end the show. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, guys, and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. I'll see you guys in a little bit. I'll probably do another episode today at some point, as long as we get some news. There's not a whole bunch to talk about. I might try to bring Jackson on, somebody, or maybe another Kansas person on or something to talk football. We'll figure it out. We're getting closer to game day. Mountaineers should be traveling here in the next day or so, and we'll see what happens after that. But make sure you like, subscribe, the whole thing. Oh, there's Jackson right there. What's up, Jackson? I was just talking about you. Yeah, so obviously the Mountaineers are going to be traveling up to Lawrence here anytime. Looking forward to seeing how they play in Kansas, because this is a big game. We can get this one. We can go 1-1 in the next two games and then go in the bye week. And that would be a really good start to the first half of the year. So like, subscribe, share the whole thing, and I appreciate that, y'all. We'll see you here in a couple hours. Until then, we're out of here. By the way, got to remind you, did you know that right now Locked On is kind of partnered up with somebody pretty cool? I'm sure you probably heard about it, but Fire TV College Football's kickoff is pretty unique in the space that we're in because it's your ultimate college football weekly preview. But Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation alongside two-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson, former college star Jesse Holley, and Locked On's local experts. It's a college football preview only Locked On can do. Got to catch college football kickoff every Thursday throughout the season and only on Fire TV. We'll see you there, and I'll see you later. Q Country Roads, we're out.